We didn't know what anyone else wanted. We just knew that camp was missing an artifact. And we found out later, of course, Commodus just wanted to ruin camp, but we didn't know what the hunters wanted. On patrol, kids kept coming back and they'd be like, I found this. And it looked like these little butterscotch candies. And we were like, oh, okay, cool. So then I went out on patrol and I found one and I was like, I'm gonna eat it. And so I go to put it in my mouth and Andy slaps it out of my hand and is like, don't you eat that. And I said, I won't eat it, I promise. So then we started collecting all of them. So we had like a decent pond of all of these candies. We didn't know what they were. They could have been poison, they could have been traps, they could have been anything. So TJ2, if you guys don't know, is one of my best friends in the whole planet, and this is when things started to get a little funky. The week goes on, we're securing territories, we're losing territories, but by Wednesday, we start to notice that the candies themselves are going missing. And we're like, okay, so either Commodus is stealing them from us or the hunters are stealing them from us. What I forgot to mention was Janice had earlier come down and told us essentially, if you cheat, you will die. I will kill you. We were like, okay, terrifying. And so he later told us that the candies were actually power-ups, which can give you elongated strength or more insight or just more energy. Like it's everything you would need to be a demigod, especially during a time like this. But ours were going missing, which led us to believe that Commodus had been stealing them in order to win the game. So as I said, TJ2 is one of my good friends, and it's been tradition that we'll go back and forth asking each other to demigod prom just because it's always fun to see how we can torture the other person. But he asked me to demigod prom, and then when I got there Wednesday night, he wasn't there. He just didn't show up. And so I was asking Topher and I asked Dionysus and I couldn't see any of them. I was like, okay, weird, not like him at all. Thursday comes around, the day after prom, and I'm like, hey dude, where were ya? And he was like, oh, I was busy. I was like, you couldn't like say anything first? Like you just didn't want to show up? He was like, no, I was just busy. And I was like, I was just busy, TJ2. Okay, cool. I got really mad at him. And then morning snack rolls around. And this is when my final straw sniggity snapped, because we were sitting there and everyone is waiting for their turn to be called to get apples. And as I said, the candies are going missing. TJ2's been acting weird. You can put two and two together. Shy runs outside of the dining hall, screaming at the top of his lungs. And he's like, I know who's been stealing the candies. And we're like, no, you don't. Like, that's baloney. But then he reaches into TJ2's pockets and rips out all of the wrappers that he had just had there, because he'd been stealing them and eating them, which would explain the jitters, the nervous energy. I mean, we were doing a Roman training like activity together, and he legitimately tried to actually fight. And I was like, no, we're just like, this is just sparring. Like, this is normal. Feelings were hurt because he put all of camp in jeopardy. Couldn't even talk to his friends about it, and now we're all kind of in danger. So then TJ2 just disappears for the rest of the day. He's not there, he's not present, we don't know where he is, and we come to circle time, which is when usually we'll try to talk to you guys about how your day was and how everything went. And as we're like separating for circle time, you see the same truck that arrived Monday pull up. And we're like, great, awesome, what does he want now? So Janice gets out in all of his sassy glory. He literally looked at all of us and did this. He has no hair, but he pushed it back as if he did, because that's just him. So we're sitting there and he goes, where is Thomas Jefferson II? And we're like, what? Why do you want TJ2? And so TJ2 comes forward. And Janice is essentially like, listen, dude, you broke the rules. And what did I say about breaking the rules?
One among you have started to sort of walk around taking the rest of the candies from everyone else. That's just not very fair. Is it, TJ2?
And all of camp was like, oh, gods, we're gonna have to watch someone we love die. And so TJ2 was standing there and Janice was basically telling him, like, you shouldn't have eaten the candies, you stole from the other teams, you stole from your own team, you broke the rules, and for that,
you're going to die.
Now, if you don't know the lore of Valhalla, then you would maybe not know that if you die and you get taken to Valhalla, you can respawn as many times as you want when you're dead in Valhalla. But if you make it to Earth or any other planet and you die here, your soul is gone forever. There is no afterlife, there is no Asphodel, there is no underworld. You are stuck, you are gone, you are erased from memory. And so I knew that, like, if this happens to TJ2 right now, that's the end of him forever. There is no respawn. And so Janice does this thing, and it's like he picked TJ2 up almost. And it looked like Tej was like suspended in the air. And Janice goes,
I'm not really interested in listening to your excuses. I've already explained this to you before. Simply put, I don't care. I warned you. You willingly ignored my rules, and now we're here. So, I mean, what can I say?
I told you my rules, and you broke them. And for that, you have to die. And I'm like, what in the heck? And so Janice pulls back his hand like he's about to throw a spell or something, and he just tosses it. And I was like, oh, not happening. And I bolted. I don't remember everything, but I know that whatever hit me, it was like this burning, like this god awful, like I felt like I couldn't breathe, but I was, and then I started spitting up blood. I don't know. I don't remember anything after the initial hit.
Ansley, wake up. You gotta wake up. Ansley, you gotta wake up for me, please.
And so then I woke up and I'm standing in like the halls of Valhalla, and they're like, "You're not Norse." And I'm like, "I am not Norse." And they were like, "Who's your mother?" I said, "Nemesis, the goddess of balance." And they said, And then they looked at who I had just heroically. It was an accident.
Wasn't an accident.
It was a little. Well, okay. I didn't mean to die. Well, but okay. Anyway, you're talking about TJ2's godly parent. And they're like, it's Tyr, who happens to be the Norse god of balance. So if you look at the Greek goddess of balance and the Norse god of balance, they said, we'll call it even. And so they made me just like TJ2 to make it even. And then I come back, but it felt like I was in Valhalla for weeks. But it was rationally only about a day.
While you were there, TJ2 and I carried your body, which sucked, by the way.
Was it heavy?
No, it wasn't a physical weight. We just all wanted to die too. So.
Well, here we are.
Glad you're back.
And that's how I died and came back.